Beware of the narcissist bait. It's nothing but a trap to control you. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, we're talking about something I call the fisherman. Now, picture a fisherman. They sit by the water, cast a line, sometimes throw a net, and wait. They don't always aim for a big catch. Sometimes, they just want to see if something will bite. Here's where it gets real. In this analogy, you are the fish. And the fisherman, that's the narcissist, or at least someone emotionally manipulative, trying to reel you back in after disappearing from your life. You know the pattern. Out of nowhere, they send a message. Maybe it's, "Hey, what's up? Hey, sexy, thinking about you. I had a dream about you last night." Or just, "You miss me yet?" At first glance, it doesn't seem like much. But here's the thing. The message isn't really about you. It's a test. A line in the water to see if you'll bite. This is what I call a fishing text. And if you respond, even with something small, like a thumbs-up emoji, they've already got what they came for, proof of life. And if you engage more than that, if you start telling them about your life, your struggles, or your day-to-day experiences, that's when the real pattern shows. Suddenly, the messages slow down. They go quiet. They disappear right when you're hoping for something more. Sound familiar? That's the cycle. Hook, bite, pull back, rinse and repeat. Think about the kinds of messages they send. It's often the random, happy birthday text after months of silence. A holiday greeting like, "Merry Christmas" or "Happy 4th of July." A checking-in message about some disaster 500 miles away. Or the classic, "Hey, beautiful." Even a casual, "Whoa, your team won the Super Bowl." All seemingly harmless. But it's not harmless. It's fishing, and it's always designed to pull you in, just enough to keep you engaged, but never enough to truly connect. Now, let me be clear. Not everyone who sends a text like this is a narcissist. Some people are just emotionally stunted, immature, or manipulative in small ways. But for the narcissist, this fishing behavior is strategic. It's how they maintain control, keep people on their hook, and feed their endless need for attention and validation. They test your availability, your emotions, and your boundaries, all without committing to any real connection. Here's where it gets tricky. If you're not careful, you can start falling back into the same patterns. You'll start sharing more than you want to, getting frustrated when they disappear again, and wondering why this always feels like the same story repeating itself. That's the pull of the narcissist's fishing line. They're experts at dangling it, keeping you curious, invested, and slightly off balance, all while they disappear and reappear at their own convenience. The key to breaking free: awareness. Recognize the pattern. Understand that the phishing texts, the flirty messages, the fake concern, the random check-ins, they're all tools designed to keep you hooked. You don't owe them a response. You don't owe them closure. You only owe yourself your boundaries, your peace, and your energy. Because once you see the fishing line for what it really is, it loses its power. You stop being the fish on their hook. You stop giving your attention and energy to someone who will never truly engage or value you. And that's when freedom begins. So, the next time that little ping comes through your phone, remember this: it's not about you. It's about the game. The line is cast. The bait is out. And now, you get to decide, are you biting? Or are you walking away and reclaiming your energy? You know the kind of text I'm talking about. Out of nowhere, your phone lights up. "Hey, I think I saw your sister at the airport." "Oh, guess what? I finally bought a boat." And of course, there's the inevitable selfie of them grinning on that boat. That's the fisherman at work. The fishing message. Just a little dip into your world, a test of the waters. And here's why it's dangerous. If that message lands in your inbox at the wrong moment, it can hit hard. Maybe it's your birthday or a holiday and you're spending it alone. Maybe you just went through a breakup, or you're having one of those days where everything feels heavy. Maybe you really are lonely. And suddenly, ping, there they are. Or maybe it catches you when you're in a good mood. Your team just won. The sun is shining. You're feeling confident in your healing. You tell yourself, "I've got this. I'm stronger now. I can handle a little light banter." But that's exactly how phishing works. These texts, They are Narcissism 101. You're not a person to them in that moment. You're part of their collection. Think of it like a shelf full of watches or little figurines behind glass. Every now and then, the narcissist walks by, opens the cabinet, picks one up, admires it, gets that hit of gratification, and then puts it back. Forgotten until the next time. That's what these texts are. A casual proof of life check. And here's the trap. You might think you're being clever, that you're playing it cool by just sending a thumbs up or a little acknowledgement. But that's still a bite. That's still a signal. I'm here. You've got my attention. And trust me, the fisherman knows exactly how to reel you in once you've nibbled. They'll reach for all their old tricks. Make you laugh. Throw you a compliment. Share a piece of gossip about someone you both knew. Maybe even open up with some heartbreaking story to tug at your empathy. And if you're naturally empathic, which many of you are, that's when it gets tricky. Because once you start responding, once the back and forth picks up steam, something inside you shifts. Suddenly, you're not just exchanging a couple of texts. Now it feels like a conversation, a reconnect ion, a spark of old familiarity. And before you know it, it escalates. We should catch up on a call sometime. Oh, Weiss, I'll be in your area soon. Let's meet up. That right there, that's the crossroads. That's the moment when the fishing trip either ends, or you find yourself tangled in the net all over again. So here's how it usually goes. After a string of light, flirty messages, you might start thinking, you know what? Talking on the phone or even meeting in person would be so much more efficient than this back and forth texting. And maybe, deep down, there's a tiny echo of that old trauma-bonded hope whispering inside you. Maybe this time will be different. Or maybe it's not even hope. Maybe you're just feeling confident, you're looking good, and you think, I'll show them what they lost. So you say it, sure, call me now. I'm just hanging out. And then, silence, crickets. Or maybe you offer something clear and open, like, yeah, I'm around this weekend. You said you'd be in town. What works for you? And their response, if they even bother to send one, is slippery, vague, nonsense. Something like, oh, I can't now, still figuring things out. Or they just slip back into playful flirting without ever answering your question. And there you are again, frustrated, maybe even angry at yourself. But here's what I want you to remember. You are not a fish. You're a person, a human being. And humans, especially those who've been trauma-bonded, don't just snap out of these patterns overnight. Healing takes time. And ironically, the more progress you've made, the more vulnerable you can sometimes feel when these games show up again. Because that's all it is, games. They throw out lines. They dangle bait. But they never follow through, because that's not their goal. And as painful as that is, it's also a hidden blessing. Because the silence, the inconsistency, the fade, that's proof. Proof that they're not looking for real connection. Still, I know what happens next. You start beating yourself up. I can't believe it. I fell for it again. I thought I was past this. I thought I'd hit full acceptance. And it stings even more in today's world, where texting, DMs, and social media make this kind of fishing easier than ever. Picture it, the narcissist lying on their couch, scrolling through their phone, bored, casting out dozens of little lines at once. A quick, hey beautiful, hey, thinking of you there. And your response, any response, becomes their entertainment for the evening. Not just from you, but from anyone willing to nibble at the bait. Here's the hard truth. No, they're not pining for you. Yes, you are special. But the fisherman doesn't have the capacity to see that. And just because they can't see it doesn't mean it isn't true. This whole fishing thing isn't even really hoovering. It's closer to sport fishing. Throw the line in, see what bites, and then toss the fish back. If you play along and keep it light, but then try to turn the conversation into something real, like making a plan or having a deeper exchange, that's when they fade again. That's when they disappear. And that's the part that stings the most. Because sometimes you're smart enough to swim around the bait at first. You know better, but then more lines get thrown in. More worms, more hooks. And eventually, you take a nibble. And the second you feel that hook in your mouth, shame kicks in. That's the cycle. That's the fisherman experience. It reminds us of the superficiality of these relationships. Because at the end of the day, that's all narcissistic relationships ever were: shallow, surface level, transactional. Fishing isn't about love, it's about ego. It's about testing the waters to see if they still have it, if they still have someone willing to grab at their hook. And remember, their ego, it's bottomless. It always needs feeding. Fishing is just one of their favorite ways to keep themselves fed. I came across this fascinating story in the New York Times. Decades ago, fishermen in the North Atlantic used to catch cod so big they were the size of a small child. Massive, powerful fish. But here's what happened over time. The cod changed. The ones that survived weren't the giants anymore. They were the smaller ones, the ones that could slip right through the nets. And generation after generation, those smaller fish became the norm. Now, cod are so small they can fit in the palm of your hand. Not because the big ones were all caught, but because survival favored the ones who could escape. The fish adapted. They evolved. And that, right there, is the metaphor I want to leave you with. My hope is that every time we talk about narcissism, every time you learn more about how their patterns work, you are becoming like those cod, evolving, adapting, learning how to swim out of the nets they cast. Because narcissists will always throw lines in the water. They'll always bait the hook. But you don't have to bite. And if, in a weak moment, you do, if you get snagged for a second, be kind to yourself. Remember, even if they reel you in for a moment, most of the time they throw you right back. And yes, that might sting, but in the long run, it's actually a win. Because with every experience, you get stronger. You learn a little more. You evolve. So don't let yourself become a fish story. Learn to slip through the net. That's where your freedom is. Thanks for being here.